let's talk about Mike McDaniel. He had his opening press conference a couple of days ago and just roasted him, man. Roasted him because he was nervous and he couldn't get the words. He didn't present himself that well, but honestly, went back and looked at the transcript. He had a lot of interesting things to say, and the only to have the only takeaway of your first impression of a guy be he talks funny is, pretty low hanging fruit. So let's give him his due. I don't think that was fair. I think he's really good at what he does, and if he can't verbalize it, that's okay. It seems like there's a lot of substance behind the things he's saying.
I agree. And I'm glad that you started out with that, because otherwise I'm going to have to come a little hard. I mean, don't nobody be talking about my Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
That's my boy. Yeah. But I can actually relate. So I see Mike as actually having a fairly similar communication style to myself. And I can relate to fumbling that first answer and then just going downhill from there. I can't tell you what happens, but it's just this effect of like knowing it's a train wreck and up here.
I already blew it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's just, you can't recover.
Yeah.
And it felt like that's what it was to him. I thought I should have some good hat game, but I can't with the,
or maybe the guy just has social anxiety. Maybe he just naturally doesn't feel comfortable in those settings, which is totally fair.
Yeah.
Totally fine.
The hat game thing leads me to what I question about it, which is that I see him as a coach with some drip, right? In that interview with Kiana Martin, that was a great interview to see him speaking more fluently and talking about his sense of style. He came in with the hat game wasn't on point. So my theory is one of two things. Either he didn't know he was going to speak that day, or he just didn't care. And so
he knew he was scheduled. He was scheduled. When they sent out the OTA release, it was Kyle week 1, D'Amico week 2, and McDaniel week 3. They saved him, and he had the longest time to prepare and get himself together.
Yeah,
he looked nervous as hell, man, and that's okay. That's okay.
Totally okay.
He'll loosen up, but maybe that's just not his setting. In which case, it doesn't freaking matter, and it's kind of just a low blow to be like, hey, he talked funny.
It's a low blow, but Niners fans should celebrate it. Because we're talking about an offensive genius here, right? I mean, when you look at what he has done within the run scheme, I am speculating there that there's a reason Kyle kept him.
I mean, the fact that he's gotten so far talking like that tells you how smart he is. I mean, it's not like he's a face man. It's not like they're pushing him out there because he makes the organization sound good. It's because his ideas are indispensable. And a lot of times people put on Twitter, like, look at this run play. Kyle Shanahan is a genius. I always think that's McDaniel, man. I'm just saying, I think that's McDaniel.
Yeah. And the odds of him getting hired away as a head coach, if he doesn't address that public speaking, are less. And we should celebrate that as 49ers fans.
Yes.
We want that continuity. We want him to stay here for a while. And it also struck me that, I am a big believer in this idea within corporate worlds of followership. Which is that many people want to be a leader, and the world actually has more people trying to be a leader than we need. We need more people who are followers to people who are leaders. And if you listen to him throughout that entire press conference, one thing is clear.
Yeah.
He looks up to Kyle
He's
Shanahan.
Cool being number 2. Like, he wants to be Scotty.
100% okay with Kyle getting all the praise. I mean, he dished out so much praise throughout that.
Yeah. I was like, Mike, do you want to call plays? He was like, are you kidding? Why would I want to do that? We got the greatest. Nah, man. Nah.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
The god of play calling is over my left shoulder.
That's Michael. Okay. I know my role. That's cool.
I'm here to contribute. The man takes care of that play calling. And that's positive. I mean, the only worrisome thing is when you have groupthink, if you have too many people that are supportive of one another. But I'm all about building one another up, putting out those compliments to one another, because I think this is a top-notch coaching staff, and I think they deserve the compliments. They have some obvious flaws that they need to address, but certainly play design, offensive play calling are not problems with this team.
No, and I think Mike McDaniel is definitely like the ace up the sleeve. He's really good at it. But I think my last thing I want to say about McDaniel is, does he really need to give press conferences? I mean, come on. He doesn't call plays. Okay, they call him the offensive coordinator, and it's almost like Kyle's like, yeah, man, you're my boy, so like I really like you, and I want to give you that, I want to give you like a raise and a promotion, but I can't really. It's like Michael Scott removing the to the from Dwight. It's like, okay, I'm going to go from calling you assistant to the assistant to the manager to the assistant manager. Like, it's like, okay, I'll give you a nice, better title, but you don't do anything different. So I don't see why we need to talk to him. I mean, you're smart, but this isn't your forum and you don't make any decisions at any point. So let's just bring Kyle out again, man. I mean, that's all I'm thinking. Unless he doesn't need to do it.
I like his lack of ego to where he basically said as much in the interview. He's like, yeah, it's a natural progression for me to now be the offensive coordinator. Not much has changed. My day-to-day is still pretty much the same thing, but now I've got a title. So
right, exactly. So the only other offensive coordinator that didn't call plays that I covered was the dude under Chip Kelly, whose name I freaking forget. Because he didn't matter. I mean, no offense, man. They would send him up there every week, and we would ask him questions like he had any control or deciding power. He's like, I don't know, man. I mean, it's a better question for Chip. Yeah, I know. Why don't you bring him out here, dude?
Yeah.
Like, they're putting you in a bad position. And again,
the difference here, Mike matters. He may not be the public face, but true. Mike McDaniel matters.
True. Whoever that guy was under Chip, but I can't remember his name. Doesn't matter.